on the international side of things, Russia and Syria are back in the news, as ironic as it is. Putin, who, and I'm going to say this now, I admire Putin, not because he is standing up to another world power, but because half of me is agreeing with what he's doing. Russia is currently making strikes, what they claim is making strikes on ISIS targets in Syria. However, activists are claiming, especially U.S. officials, are claiming that they are not attacking ISIS, but attacking Syrian rebels. Now, here's the problem. The Free Syrian Army, because I've been following the Syrian Civil War since it began, as ironic as that is, the Free Syrian Army is essentially now a bunch of just, it's sprinkled out now. Because they are so convinced, because the United States, European countries, the international community,
NATO,
thank you,
yeah.
I can remember. They refused to give all they gave them was equipment and airstrikes. And I'm not for boots on the ground, because obviously eventually we're going to get back involved. Eventually, I think.
Yeah.
But the issue comes to the fact that most of that Free Syrian Army is now with ISIS, because they're convinced ISIS is the only way to achieve their goals. And at this point, they're willing to do anything to end the reign of current Syrian government president, Bashar al-Assad. It's interesting to see how such a strong fighting force, because the Free Syrian Army had made a lot of progress, yeah. And then you come into effect to where ISIS starts growing, and really nobody knew about them until they recruited I can't remember specifically what ethnicities, but Iran is split into 3 ethnicities. Mm-hmm. Two of the largest ones were able to come together and agree on something to destroy the smaller one. Or no, it was the smaller one that agreed to join ISIS, because the 2 others were too powerful and just condemning them to hell, essentially. Some of those people didn't want to fight and held out in their homes. Look, what's your initial thoughts on the issue?
Well, I mean, I think it's a smart, I guess, power play by Russia. Set up their own bases and really saying that they're there to attack ISIS. When really, if you look behind the pictures, behind the scenes, Russia is cozy with the Syrian president. He's actually in support with keeping the current Syrian government in power, while America is with the rebels. So it's kind of like what we saw in the Cold War era, where you had Russia supporting pro-communist regimes, while America was supporting pro-democratic regimes throughout Asia and the Middle East. And it's kind of like Russia and America going at war with each other, but not exactly, Mm-hmm. They're kind of using the Syrian people as middlemen, Like, I think what I strongly believe is that Russia and the United States need to let these people be. We are going in there, they're becoming too dependent on American resources and Russian resources for their everyday lives. We need to let them figure their own poo out. We need to get out of it. We need to leave them alone. These are grown men. These are Middle Eastern nations who have been there longer than the United States and Russia combined. The United States, well, one of the youngest countries in the world. Now, today's Russia, post USSR Russia, it's pretty young itself.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I meant by that.
Okay.
But I mean, these are nations who have been there since the start of civilization.
Yes.
They need to figure out their own problems, and America needs to let them do that. We need to stop policing the world. We have too many domestic issues, like we just talked about 10 minutes ago, that we need to stay out of serious war.
And we're not even done yet.
Yeah, and I get ISIS. They've attacked Americans. They beheaded Americans.
They beheaded a Jordanian.
Yes. But let us take out ISIS. Get out of the Syrian civil war. Because last time I checked, who was a part of the American Civil War? Nobody.
Yeah.
Really, nobody.
They let us do our own
Yes.
thing. The British refused to aid
Yeah.
the Confederates.
Yeah. And we had small intervention help from the French. Small. But the majority was on ourselves. Now, why can't we let the world figure out their own problems?
You know why?
Why is that?
Because we have international intentions there.
Mhm.
I don't know what they are. A lot of claims in the Middle East, which are understandable, is oil. We want to protect our oil resources, but I think there's something else in Syria that we're not aware of. And I want to show you this map. This is actually according to the Study of War on September 10th. These three targets, and I'll describe what they are. Syria, if you go to CNN.com and look up why are the Russian airstrikes in Syria, there's a map, and there's 3 airstrike marks. All of them are around, they're in regime territory, but there's this dot of rebel control, I'm assuming Free Syrian Army, and those 3 strikes have been centered around that area.
Yes, that says the Homs or...
Yes, it is Homs. Yeah, that is a huge. I think that's actually where the rebellion began.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
pretty
huge
sure.
rebel-controlled area.
Yeah, Damascus is the capital. Right?
And like CNN was talking about earlier this afternoon when I was watching it, was like the western part of Syria, mainly by the Mediterranean Sea, is really under rebel control. I mean, this map says otherwise, but that's what really what we've been told is that the western side of Syria has been under rebel control.
Yeah. But this map definitely shows that there's not just because you've got regime, which is Bashir al-Assad. You've got this new group, the Jabhat al-Nusra. I apologize if you're Middle Eastern if I'm just slaughtering
you
these
actually did
names.
pretty well, honestly.
I hope I am. But they have some control area. I don't know where that be because it's like a really dark red. I think it's right there actually.
Yeah.
In the northwestern part of Syria. There's rebel control, ISIS control, multiple forces control, which I think is between more regime and rebel.
Yeah.
Then you've got the YPG, which is Syrian Kurds, which are actually more plateau riders, and they were big during.
And they were mainly in the northern part near the Turkish border in Syria.
Which that's still, I mean, especially ISIS, because there's a town in there. I think it's Aleppo.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aleppo. Thank you for confirming that. Assuming we're right. There's a border town in there, which last I heard, ISIS actually got pushed back out of there. But I could be. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of information. I mean, I remember when the story first broke out, and there's lots of videos that I'll watch, especially one cameraman who ended up dying.
Wow, I did not know
he
that.
recorded a lot of the stuff. I don't remember. He was an American who was Middle Eastern. I'm pretty sure his parents were from Syria. Could be entirely wrong on this. But he went to these cities. He filmed the fighting. And it's a really good YouTube video. I'll probably show it to you later. But it's a really great YouTube video of just all those films together and just the inspiration that these rebels have. It's amazing because they have a holiday, or not a holiday, but they have a day where they celebrate their dead and they celebrate their courage and what they're fighting for.
I did not know that.
Like I said, I'll show you the YouTube video.
That's neat. That's
It
neat
is.
to know, yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to put some things in perspective here. That's what I like doing.
Yeah.
The height of the British Empire. Just go with me.
I get you.
Just go with me here. They were worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
They had bases and colonies in every continent in the world, right?
Yes.
Now, look at today's America. We have bases throughout Germany. We have nuclear sites with our missiles in Turkey and Germany.
Still?
Yes.
I thought we took those out. Well, I knew we had him in
While I
Germany,
give him a look.
Oh, video's gonna be
But what I'm saying is that we have nuclear bases outside of U.S. soil. We have bases in Africa, Asia, everywhere in the Middle East.
It's a Cold War.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We are what was the British Empire. We
The same thing.
have globalization. We have taken over the world. Our Navy. Have you seen naval commercials in every continent, in every continent, ready
Yeah.
to ready
Japan,
to,
Australia, I think New Zealand.
That's the Seventh Fleet right there in the Japan Asian area.
Yeah.
We have fleets in the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean.
Red Sea.
Yes, we are worldwide. But why are we? We are because we believe we are the world police.
We've been that way since 9/11.
And longer than that, since World War II.
Roosevelt.
Yes.
War. Yeah.
Since the end of World War II, we were the sole superpower until the USSR stepped up their atomic weapons and began to grow.
I'm actually speaking of Teddy Roosevelt because he's the one who decided to take the 7th Fleet.
Yeah.
And parade
To show
around
off
the world.
the naval forces. But I'm thinking more of after World War II, we dropped the nukes. We became the world's single superpower in that area. Building bases, the East-West Germany conflict, building bases everywhere. And I'm for America. Do not take this as I'm anti-American. I love America. I love the American military. My older brother, he's stationed in base in Hawaii. I'm gonna give him a shout out to see if he'll listen. But I mean, all I'm saying is, and I think most Americans would agree with me, I'm really sick of America meddling in other people's business. It's not our business. Syria is not our business.
Agreed.
Until Syria starts killing American tourists or starts committing some kind of act of genocide, which is really a UN's problem. That's putting UNs to stop things like that. You keep peace.
That's why we...
Yeah. But we should be worrying about the home front or immediate dangers.
And typically that's typically what a president does in their second term too. But, and I know we're getting a little bit off topic here, and we're actually gonna, I think we're gonna transition in through this conversation. We'll go ahead and transition. On the domestic front,